Yeah, hello. So yeah, last session, circus, right? Crazy painting. You guys entered this painted world a couple sessions ago. Literally entered a painting in the museum, the Calaman Museum of Art History. This creepy circus painting that was at the kind of basement of this museum. And it's just been a surreal experience. You all got there. It's kind of like on this giant floating island thing in the middle of nothing and just dark abyss and, shades of purples and weird colors. It looks like everything is painted here. There's a blurriness, a glossiness to everything, including you all. Your weapons are just scribbled, aha, take on me kind of things. But yeah, eventually you all meet this creepy accordion clown thing. It basically says to enter the tent, you guys gotta perform because you're the performers that everyone is waiting for. So you all kind of gathered all your stuff. Willow, you had that ringleader outfit with the whip. Melodia, you grabbed a banjo. And Sneak, you had this like funny barrel, fucking like almost like a turtle shell, but like a barrel outfit thing. And also Melodia painted your face like a like a clown. And then Lyx, you got kind of just the classic stereotypical magician get up, little top hat, mustache and flowers and the fake bunny and whatever, all that stuff. And yeah, and you all kind of march in. There's this weird, creepy, shadowy, smoky ringleader thing that announces you all. All the name of the circus keeps getting cut out by nothing. It's like just staticiness that comes out of the voices. And this voice, just as a reminder, kept going into all your head. So it wasn't actually a voice that was emanating outward. It was like talking to you within your head. And yeah, eventually Lyx does her first little performance after Sneak does a funny little barrel roll in. Lyx cooks, does some great stuff, but eventually does a flame breath that consumes her. And yeah, the flame breath turns into a familiar dragon and just eats her and she's gone. And if you all are interested to know what happened to Lil Lyx, we sent that audio recording whenever, if you have the time and are interested, check it out. I really like how Craig's voice came out on that recording. Actually, I need to get a mic that picks that type of voice better. But yeah, if Sneak, Willow, Melodia, if you want to jump in, kind of share where it went for you, maybe just your performance or whatever you want to share about what happened after. Things got crazy.
Yeah, I remember Sneak was very reluctant to perform because he is not a performer. And then I think, when he came in, he rolled in and he kind of threw up and everybody thought that was really funny. And I don't know, having the confidence to be, to be that clown, I guess, in a little sense, kind of made him feel better. And he was able to do a dangerous feat of tightrope walking and then jumping to another rope. And then he was going to do something, but it ended up not working right. But he ended up grappling to the side and getting through the hoop, I think, barely. I can't remember everything that happened, but it was something similar to that. And
You actually
then,
did an amazing job getting through the hoop. I think you got a very high performance there, and
yeah,
you used like inspiration from Melodia to do a good acrobatics check at the same time. So yeah, you actually landed really well, and like
yeah,
kind of did like
killed
some
it.
spins and stuff. Yeah.
And then all the other stuff.
Yeah, and understandably, part of the reluctance was we saw what happened to Lyx, but we didn't know if that was part of what was happening. We're like kind of aware of Craig, but I don't know. I don't know how much the other characters know. I don't think Willow knows a whole lot, although she will be asking questions. But yeah, like just a hesitancy and we have to get her back, but we have to, or them back, but we have to figure out what we're doing. So I know Melodia had an amazing performance, of course, as she always does. And Willow, not really knowing what to do, kind of just brought out Spitfire and did some stuff with her, some more basic tricks, a little war demonstration kind of stuff, because that's what she's trained for. And then after we all do our individual performances, the creepy guy kind of came back and was like, oh, and now for the main event. And that's where we found Ilastrius being held precariously from the ceiling. And while trying to figure that out, we also had another very cool combatant created by your nephew, I want to say. It was very cool.
Yeah, I need to share that with him actually. I forgot to do that. So
Please
yeah, he
do. It was
actually did
great.
do it. Yeah.
So fighting off that combatant, trying to figure out how to get him down, Willow in her hubris was like, oh, I'll just fly up, and was humbly knocked down. So we had to figure out a way to safely get him down without killing him, because the drop would very much do so. He is a very frail old man. So fortunately, defeating the monster first gave us something to have him land on, and working together, Sneak shooting things, Melodia healing me several times, and also doing their own wonderful things. We eventually got him down safely, and I believe that's where we ended, was being congratulated by creepy guy. I don't really have another name
Yeah,
for him.
I'll recap that last part because I'll actually just kind of be the opening of our session. But yeah, I mean, tons of performances, tons of inspiration, not just from Melodia actually, but also from the crowd. If you all remember the weird little orb spirit things, they kept feeding you guys like their energy whenever they were like really happy, or you guys brought emotion out of them. So just a very surreal experience. And yeah, it was super enjoyable for me as a DM to just see you guys kind of figure it out. And just so you all know, this is a little out of character, but I just want to say it because it's my style as a DM. Sometimes I create problems that I actually don't have a specific answer for. I might give you tools, I might throw in some resources. Only like I think in dungeons or like really specific riddles or something like that will like it'd be like, oh, this is the answer. But I actually prefer to present a problem that, maybe I'll think of a way for you to solve it, but ultimately, like, the reason I do that is because as a DM, oftentimes our players always surprise us anyway. So sometimes I would just cut that bullcrap for me, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't know if you guys are gonna succeed. I don't know if it's gonna happen. And that was 1,000%, that situation. I was just rolling with your punches, rolling with the punches I made, even rolling with the punches of Lyx, right? Of Lyx not being there, and I was like, oh shit. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. Normally I try to keep, balance in mind still, and I don't want to totally like massacre you guys. But yeah, with like problem solving situations, like a lot of times it's up to you all. I'm not 100% sure what the solution might be. And yeah, when in doubt, one can always run away. All right, but so good recap, great session. I mean, I think we'll just jump right into where we left off. Let's see if this song is any good. I'm on roll 20 as well, so you all know. Oh yeah, this is good. So, the strange goo monster lies in large, bouncy clumps around you all. Alastrius remains unconscious as Willow feels immense pain in her back and legs, using all her might to catch Alastrius. Around you all, the glowing orbs cheer and produce clapping sounds, changing their color hues to lighter, calmer, and brighter colors. The large green flames begin to rise higher and higher around the perimeter of the performance field. Suddenly, black smoke begins to emanate around you all as the top-hatted ringleader appears out of nowhere. Only their white irises and terrifying permanent white smile shine like the moon of Solinari. Creepy percussion. But yeah, so ringleader's back, super dark, scary, but their eyes are white and their smile is white and bright. And it seems like this being doesn't really have legs. It's just kind of gliding around, right? It's like this cape is just kind of following it, almost like tendrils. And then in its odd, echoey, whispery-ish, but still powerful voice, it says, "Reward for worthy performers. A taste of the other side. The world of chaos. Scythicus." And it says Scythicus to you all, the world of chaos. It then grabs a large triangular vial from under its cape, as well as a large paintbrush with bristles already covered in iridescent colors. It proceeds to brush over a piece of the goo monster that's on the ground like a madman going crazy until a strange liquid essence of galaxy-like colors floats into the air. The ringleader then quickly scoops this liquid and hands it out to anyone, to just your group.
I'll take it.
Sneak, you take it. And then he kind of like looks at you and bows, Sneak, and says, "Excellent performance, Sneak. A small piece of essence of this world. And it points somewhere. And then all of a sudden he says, "It appears the little Sandbottom will join us soon." And then suddenly, right where he's pointing, a dark purple portal opens. And for a brief moment, you all see purple sand dunes, just purple sand dunes, a purple desert in this portal. And this purple desert is amongst a sky of pure darkness. And Lyx, how do you appear through this portal?
I guess I just kind of trip over the bottom and fall in.
Okay, yeah. So you just kind of slip in, kind of maybe slipping on some sand dune that's inclined.
Good at lifting up my feet.
And then he's just standing there, this ringleader, and Lyx is back.
And my team looks like bloodied. And
yeah, they look rough. Ilastrius is unconscious. Willow particularly looks bad.
Per usual.
Yeah. Well, classic Willow, I think, you look rough, but you're still stern and like hanging in there emotionally and expression-wise, I'm guessing, Willow.
She
But
takes
your
the most
body,
hits though too.
yeah,
Like
your body's
as
fucked up, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no, she's looking pretty rough, and honestly, with how low she got, maybe starting to limp a little, especially with that impact. But I think as soon as she sees Lyx, she's just gonna. I mean, Alastrius is passed out, so just kind of toss him over the shoulder and run over to them, make sure that they're okay, because I didn't know what happened to them.
Me? Are you okay?
I think we're gonna be okay. We gotta wake him up eventually, but I'm still not sure where we are or how we get back. So
Well,
you missed some weird stuff, but I think we missed some weird stuff with you too.
yeah. I saw. Do you know Craig?
I'm just gonna say that they've probably like talked about Crake a little bit, but not super in depth. So yeah, just a little bit.
Well, you know, like we just saw a painting of Craig like in the museum, and well, I saw him, and he said he didn't bring us here. So, but we can talk more about that later. Yeah, so Alastrius fainted again.
And then, Lyx, you suddenly realize standing behind you is this tall, incredibly tall, shadowy being with a top hat and says, "Ah, yes, our esteemed volunteer. He played his part well." And he's looking at Alastrius and kind of starts slithering toward Alastrius, the black smoke rising and rising more, slithering towards Alastrius. And he sticks out his finger. Willow, you're holding, like, is Alastrius's ass? Is he?
Yeah,
How are you
kind
holding
of.
him?
I
Like,
didn't really know how to best carry him. It was more of a speed to get over to Lyx. So yeah, he's kind of just behind me mostly.
and yeah, he kind of stops in front of you and he says, "If I may,
May you what?
help our volunteer come to his senses."
She's gonna hesitantly, very gently lay him down.
Okay. And then again, he says that weird line of, "He played his part very well." And then he poked Alastrius's head with this long, pure black finger, and smoke is rising. And then suddenly, this being starts to flicker away like small embers, starts to disappear further and further away. And as it's disappearing and going away from you, it's kind of like bowing to you all. And it says, "Until our next performance, Bronze Bombers." And it bows and just disappears into all these flames. And it's gone.
clowns are fucking weird. I'm right? Clowns are weird.
No, I'm with you. Whatever that was, I hate it. How's Alastrius looking?
Alastrius, nothing has changed with him. He's still unconscious. And as Sneak actually says clowns are fucking weird, the ground starts to shake and everything is shaking. The entire arena starts to shake, and suddenly pieces of the tent start to fall down all around you as the glowing orbs start to like be like, "Ah, ah, ah," and they kind of start fading back through the tent, running away from this space. Everything is shaking and crumbling, and it looks like this tent is falling apart completely. What do you all do?
Melodia's gonna run over to the group because she's a little far flung, or she was with Sneak when he got the galaxy essence, which she says, Melodia says, "Don't touch that. Be careful, be careful of that. Don't let it open."
I was gonna ask if I could drink it. I was
Please
like, "What is
don't.
this? Should I drink this?" So I'm glad I didn't ask that. All right, thank you.
Yeah, make sure you guys make note of this strange vial you now have.
Yeah.
I have no name for it. It's vial of another world. Maybe the vial of this what the
Stixis?
Sithicus.
Sith.
So very Star Wars name. Literally Sith from Star Wars. Sithicus.
Into the bag of holding.
Everything is falling around you all. I need you all to
Let's
make
run. Let's
dexterity.
Run through that entrance.
Yeah, and as you guys are running, like, the world, not only are things falling, but literally the ground below is starting to sink down into nothing, into the abyss below, the purple dark abyss as you guys are running. I need you all to make athletics check. And I'm guessing, Willow, you're grabbing Alastrius?
Yeah, I picked it as soon as
Okay.
things started going wonky. I picked him back up and started running.
Will you accept an acrobatics?
Maybe. You gotta explain what you're doing.
You
Sneak,
gotta-
you're just head of the class, just unleashing full sneak mode. Uh-oh, 5? Okay. Okay, Willow, you're good, and that also helps you with Alastrius. You're getting that willpower from within to just fucking go even though you are bruised and hurting. Melodia, how do you do this? You will make it out of the tent. I'll give you that much.
So basically gonna like kind of keep jumping over and heals all of these, like dodging like the pieces of tents falling out and just like, oh,
It's It's almost like rocks and boulders now too. Like literally, like this world has become nothing. It's just actual material just falling everywhere. So you're just kind of like focusing on the dodging, and you're barely like skipping around onto these like.
She's running in
things.
her stripper heels, like absolutely like click, 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 clack, clack, click, clack, clack.
Okay, cool. And you barely like kind of like do a nice little swell outside into the main area that kind of had that grassy area with all the smaller tents where you guys first got there, and it was kind of forested, the island part. Lyx with a 4, your friends dart, your friends are doing great, and they don't notice you as you fucking trip right away and slam into the ground.
Not again!
As a rock starts heading toward you, I needed you to do a deck save.
Can I try to grab her with my grappling?
What'd you get, Lyx?
Well.
Sneak, you're gone. With that natural 20, I think you're way too gone, unfortunately.
Can I come back for her?
So this is what's gonna happen. So with the 12, you do roll out just in time, and Lyx, suddenly from within you, you hear, and then you hear, but I didn't forget our deal. Did you hear that?
I heard, but I didn't forget our deal.
Yeah, pathetic, but I didn't
Oh.
forget our deal. And suddenly you feel these spiritual things, this energy, this dark energy come to your feet as you get taller, just your feet, but it's just these spectral, giant, fiery black dragon legs. And then you hear, and now do it at advantage, an athletics check.
Ooh, 18.
You are hustling again, and you actually somehow pass Melodia. You don't pass your other friends, but you pass Melodia somehow. Yeah, Melodia,
Do you see my legs?
you just see Lyx with giant thighs and giant legs just running, and you are like, what the actual fuck is going on? Alright, you guys are now all at the island, and Lyx is probably 10 feet taller than she normally is. Her actual legs are still there, but there's these strange spectral black dragon legs that are now on her as legs attached to her, kind of. Lyx,
Bitch,
you can
got
add
some
description.
explaining to do when we get out of here. And then she
I
goes,
will,
Click,
but
clack.
these are really thick thighs. I'm kind of excited.
Did you say 10 feet? Like the legs are 10 feet themselves?
No, Lyx is about 10 feet now, so
Okay.
whatever Lyx is, I guess the
Oh,
difference.
great.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
God, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
So 10 feet total. But it's still, it looks like they are on like giant stilts, kind of, but it's obviously it's not stilts, but a similar effect where you could still clearly see the legs, but there's these other things there now. And it's kind of like transparent and but still dark and looks like dragon legs, like ghost dragon legs almost. The island is shaking now as the tent completely collapses and starts sinking down into the abyss, into nothingness. And the island behind you where the tent was keeps crumbling down. The trees start folding back. What are you all doing? You're muted, Errol.
Do we just fall into it and hope it's where we want to go?
I
And then
was
you-
gonna say keep running back towards where we came from. I know there wasn't like a really solid place, but maybe something's reopened. Hoping something's reopened.
Then you hear from within you, Lyx, speaking to you. This world will destroy you. Do you not feel it?
I think my legs are telling us to run.
So you all follow. I'll keep your things. You're running to the edge, and you make it to the edge, kind of where Sneak. You first kind of investigated the area and found out this was a giant island, and everything keeps crumbling, keeps falling, and it's getting closer and closer to you all. What do? You all do actually see a light, kind of above, a little light, but it's still a couple hundred feet away, actually.
Is my speed like faster right now?
Yeah, it's probably.
Can I pick up Seek and run? Get us a little farther?
I mean, you guys are at the edge now, and it's just breaking apart. Yeah, you're at the edge of this island, and it's just falling from where the tent was, just falling apart. And also, I forgot to describe the ringleader outfit's gone. It's kind of disappearing from Willow. Your barrel suit is disappearing. The banjo is gone. All your weapons are gone again. All the painted world items have disappeared. They're dissipating into nothing. And it's almost like now it seems more like a black hole or something below, way below, just pulling everything in.
Sneak, I think, is like, you know, in like DBZ when they like phase out and like hop out behind someone. So like, I imagine like Sneak is maybe hopping from rock to rock or fragment to fragment.
Okay.
And am I going up to like a doorway? Is there like a doorway or something we can go to?
No, but go ahead. I like what you're doing. There is a doorway, but the rocks are not floating up. They're falling down. So what's happening now is you all are actually falling down on these rocks. Sneak, you're gonna try to do this cool stuff to keep going up on the rocks. Do an acrobatics check. What is everyone else doing? Are you hanging on the rocks? Are you gonna try to copy Sneak and be cool?
I mean, I have a last-ditch effort idea, but I don't think it'll work.
All right, Sneak, you kind of, yeah, you're looking pretty good. You're definitely ahead of your friends, and you're kind of freaking out, though. You're, like, kind of looking back at them, and you're like, shit, and maybe you're claw-shotting to some of the rocks, but that portal still is out of reach. Willow, are you going to do something?
Yeah, I think again, I don't expect this to work, but it's all I got. She's just gonna yell into the ether, if you expect an encore, we need to be able to get back.
I was gonna say, I'll use Gus to try and, like, give myself some boost as I try and jump from rock to rock.
Yeah, and it kind of, like, pathetically, you know, you're just kind of jumping up and down, basically, and you hear, "So pathetic. Fine, only in this world it seems I can help you like this." And suddenly, Lick, you feel from your back immense pain as giant black wings come out of you. A wingspan of over 50 feet. And you get spectral giant claws that come out as well with your now spectral legs. What do you do, Licks? You're falling down.
I'm fighting the pain and I'm trying to see if there's a way to twitch my back to make this work.
Yeah, so go ahead and do an Arcana check, I think. Or maybe
Natural
something with
20.
Hell yeah! You burst through, you figure it out somehow. You're not a dragon at all, but somehow you just focus, you breathe. Or how does this look, Lix? You do it.
Like, for a second, my eyes become Crake's eyes. Like, all of a sudden, like, I feel so connected that I just intuit how this works. And I say, like, a silent thanks to Crake. And then I'm, like, looking to get my friends to hop on.
Yeah, so you can use your arms to try to grab some of them. Some of them can try to jump on. What does everyone do? Lix is flying at you all now. A little gnome body still, but giant dragon wings behind and giant spectral arms kind of reaching out at some of you.
Willow also has wings.
Willow does.
Melodia's gonna. Melodia does not have wings, and she's very cognizant of that. So homegirl is going to try to jump onto the dragon. We've done it once before, so this is kind of what we do. So she's gonna like beat it over there, click, clack, 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 running across these stones, kind of clambering up, and try and jump on Crake. Licks?
It's definitely Licks with weird body parts. Yeah, with weird spectral body parts.
Fucking tied, she mutters as she's like trying to fucking like click clack. Do I need to roll for it or something? Can I just
you have to do a strength check. Go ahead for fun. Do a strength check. Or athletics check, actually. Or strength. Do strength. What does everyone else do?
Like a pure strength?
Yeah, just do a strength check. Oh, okay. You hang on. Yeah, you do well. You're Daenerys in this bitch.
Wait, so you're on my, like, in between my wings?
Yeah, kind of like the weird, yeah, there is actually like a weird, gross, spectral, like, ridge there a little bit with, like, you know, the spikes and stuff, little ridge. What's everyone else doing? Or Lix, what are you doing? Your friends are about to all fall into an abyss. They're still above you because they were athletic enough to make it up there, but it's all falling apart.
Well, I'm glad that Melodia's on my back, and I'll say, hold on, I think, and then I'll just try and move forward and see what the rest of the party's up to.
I think, like, as I'm, like, going up these, like, rocks, and I start to, like, lose momentum or whatever, I'll just kind of, like, do a little dive back, little backflip, and then just, like, grab onto her little hook as if it was, like, you know, like, I'm expecting her to just come up, you know. So I'll just grab her
away like a pterodactyl? Is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah.
Like the lift feet?
So I do like a little backflip and just like elegantly just grab her little claw and then just go up.
Cool. So and with that
on the back.
Nice. With that natural 20, Licks, you have that control to just grab like a fucking bird taking away a twig. Sneak, who just like fell back like I don't know, like Ezio or something from Assassin's Creed. And yeah, Willow, what's going on with you? I think you saw Sneak kind of fall because he was above you, but you were kind of next in line to try and make it up these giant rocks that are falling apart.
Yeah, she's gonna follow like him, like her eyeline is gonna follow him falling down, kind of just go, that's fucking cool, do we all have wings? What is happening? And try to engage her own, seeing that Lyx has functional wings and maybe hers aren't still clipped or whatever. Obviously changing the carry from an over the shoulder to like a hilarious like passed out bridle carry for Alastair.
Oh, so you bring your wings out, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah,
and they feel really powerful again. Kind of like, again, in the new Atari temple, kind of that vibe. And you feel like they actually can launch you forward now with speed and fight fight back kind of this pull that's happening now. So yeah, we have Lyx and Willow just fucking flying up, you know, honestly an angel and a demon dragon thing looking thing flying next to each other, going up and up and up and up toward this white light. You burst through and you all are back in that basement room. You fly out of that painting, all of you. Everyone can do a dex check. Yeah, that is a cool moment. That is a very cool moment and pretty funny too. You've all escaped the painted world for now. A world that apparently is called Sithicus, a world of chaos.
Those aren't good.
Yeah, so Sneak, you actually thrown off because the second that Lyx bursts through, Lyx, all the things you had are gone and you're back to normal. Lyx, Sneak is like, what the fuck? And like he's, you know, not being held by anyone anymore and you just go tumbling again. Sneak flying through the dirt. Willow, I think I don't know, you're exhausted. You're holding fucking Alastrius, you burst through, you kind of fall on your back, just sigh, you know, you're also on your ass. But yeah, Melodia, and I guess Melodia makes sense. You were on Lyx's back, you had a little bit more of a vantage to do a nice landing. And Lyx, you maybe that natural 20, that intense focus, that desire to save your friends and use this power for good. You realize quickly that, you know, that all your crazy body parts are gone and you're just back to you and you kind of land well. Yeah, exactly. The Tide users make it out. Surprisingly, they're the most dexterous this time. Yeah, you all are back and there are actually guards around now. It looks like there's guards from the museum and they're all like absolutely taken aback by seeing you all. And they immediately notice Alastrius and Willow kind of injured and they go up to you and they're kind of like, are you guys okay? And just kind of make this scene fast. Like basically they're actually pretty helpful. They're not trying to be antagonistic here. They get some potions out, they shove them down your throat, Willow and Alastrius's. And some of them do kind of get a little questiony, but Alastrius kind of comes to after the potion and he's like, you know, tells them to stop and has no idea what happened. And funnily enough, Willow and Alastrius, he actually, when he was pulled in, I forgot to describe this, his cane fell down. So his cane was stayed in the real world because he was, if you guys remember, he was the first one to get kind of dragged in. So yeah, I imagine that he like slapped the ground and his fucking cane, he just dropped it and just got flung in. Yeah, no, I think at this point this is actually the blue suits. So I think what might have happened, well, you guys can all kind of infer that like the docents came down and were like, oh, and like, you know, the museum guards, like, what the fuck are they? Were here, you know, and they're getting chewed out, and then yeah, then basically the city police come, the blue suit.
You'd be nosy.
So an amount of time definitely happened. It's unclear how much time happened, but definitely enough for them to get, you know, more help. Yeah, is there anything you all want to do to kind of close out this museum painted world shenanigans, talk to each other? We could say that you're all kind of, including Alastrius, you're all kind of in this, like, you know, his office being treated. It seems like he's mostly okay. He's kind of dizzy. He got his clothes back on. If you guys don't remember, he had no shirt on, but he's just wearing kind of simple white robes actually. So he looks like pretty humble for once and not so garish. Yeah, and you're all kind of being treated too, and everyone has full health again, and everyone's okay. And there's going to be a long rest anyways. I'm imagining the day will end after this. But yeah, is there anything you guys want to talk about as a group, or with Alastrius, you guys can go ahead and jump in. Maybe this is when Lyx, you talk about yourself, although I don't know if you want to say that in front of others. So whatever you guys.
Well, I was gonna ask Alastrius, has this happened before?
And he's grabbing his head, like kind of like he's holding back a migraine. He's like, absolutely not. And he immediately is like, kind of talks to one of the workers and is like, we have to close that area off, perhaps permanently for now. That was unacceptable, to put it lightly. And yeah, he's just like, no. And he looks very stern and serious for one.
Willow's gonna step up and basically ask him, like, what do you remember? Because all of that was crazy, but also you weren't with us the whole time. Is there anything that you know that we don't, or any idea why?
Yeah, it felt like a fever dream. I just remember slamming my head and then kind of coming to every now and then and seeing stars, or I don't know, this strange, powerful energy everywhere. I didn't know what was going on. I heard voices from who knows where. I thought I heard some familiar voices too in there, but it was just a mix. So he's kind of describing what you guys saw when you like entered initially, if you remember. Like it was just almost like this weird, almost like Star Wars hyperspace thing, but you're walking through this like tunnel. So it's not like happening so quickly, but just this energy was all around you all. And some of you kind of heard some whispers from the outside and noticed kind of stars and stuff. He was like, and then my clothes it just disintegrated off me, and I remember being tied up and asking for help, and no one could hear me, I think. And And then that horrible, I remember everything with that occasion. And thank you all, especially you, Sneak. I was terrified you were going to pierce my body with your arrows, but you aimed well. You aimed true. But he's like, your guesses are as good as mine. I can only imagine this has to do with the tide seemingly reawakening around this planet. I don't know. This has never happened in my time here, in my 50 plus years of working with this museum.
I'm gonna be real, this was my first time to the museum. I kind of thought that's how all museums work. I was kind of for it. They're kind of exciting.
He actually laughs. He actually does laugh at that. He's like, "Oh, Sneak, you do find the joy in everything. That is quite the quality, my friend. Unfortunately, it's not always so exhilarating. Although it seems with you all that tends to be the case." And he does kind of smile at all of you as like kind of a worker brings him some water, and he's like, "Thank you, my dear," and kind of starts drinking it. And yeah, and people bring you guys water and stuff if you want it, and everyone's kind of tending to you all. And actually, it seems like the workers are like almost at in the ass kissing range of to all of you, especially Ilastrius. Yeah, and actually like with those vibes, Ilastrius is kind of like, I know you all work for Marshal Nestra, so I cannot tell you not to tell her any of this. You certainly can, but perhaps to other friends, maybe we keep this secret for now. I think it's just better to not encourage anyone. You tell people not to do something, and well, they might want to do it even more. So really, it's for the safety of others to keep this between all of us. But of course, you all can tell the Marshal anything you wish, or I guess any trusted confidants, but maybe just the Marshal.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Did Alastrius say that he didn't know who the artist was of those paintings in the...
So yeah, he explained that these paintings were already there. So his great ancestor, the Vute explorer, found these ruins, or they didn't find them. It crashed into Calaman, and then they explored it. Yeah, and these paintings were pretty much on exhibit in this basement space, which is why it was kind of always sort of a private collection because of that weird, uncomfortable fact. So this was before it was a museum, if that makes sense. It was not a museum. It was literally an Astarian battle station flying fortress thing. And then for some reason, these paintings were already there when this explorer discovered that.
Could I do some sort of investigation check around the area to see if maybe there's some sort of clue to give us more information on artist, or if there's like some sort of chest somewhere or something I can just nab?
Yeah, so you're I mean, you're in Ilastrius's office, and there's like, lots of books everywhere, and yeah, definitely some trinkets, little pieces of art. Go ahead and do an investigation check.
Okay.
And then Willow, are you going to say something, or anyone just jump in?
I was just going to say, I don't know if I'm misremembering or if maybe this was a thought I had, but was it theorized that maybe the creepy figure was the artist, or
Yeah.
am I just imagining? Okay.
Yeah, so
I'm
Ilastrius
fine.
actually does bring that up and asks you all, like, that must have been him, right? It looked just like that painting. I dare not look at it again right now. I'm not going down there anytime soon. But it looks like that final painting, right? That being. And yeah, I mean, it really did. It looked like that blacktop creepy thing. And I can show you all again. Well, if anyone else wants to say anything. Willow's like, Actually, I forgot where the hell I put it, so maybe you're in luck.
I guess Melodia like sits down, and when she sits down in a chair, the switch happens, and now it's Melvin back. But Melvin definitely is like shaking. Melodia was just tired. Melvin is absolutely quivering. So I think the conversation has been, Melvin's just been kind of sitting quiet. So the name Scythicus is like burned into his brain. Like that's what he wants to ask Ilastrius about. They mentioned the word Scythicus, that he remembers hearing that clear as day through Melodia. Melodia tells me that.
And then he kind of tells like all those servants to run along. He tells them to leave. And they do, the workers, the docents, they all leave. It's just you all. And Ilastrius looks at you, Melodia, and is like, are you sure those were the words this thing said?
Melvin.
Or sorry,
Yeah.
You went back to Melvin. Okay, you're back to Melvin. Sneak, what the hell? There's the ringleader. But I didn't know that. That's cool. I didn't know you guys could edit my share screens. That's fun. So yeah, Melvin, he kind of asked, like, are you sure it was Scythicus? That's what they said? That's what came out of their mouth?
Yes.
And then he kind of like sighs, and you all kind of, maybe some of you get this moment of kind of remembering like the way that he looks and the distraught feeling he has on his face, and like of horror and just fear and maybe a little bit of anger. Kind of reminds you all of that moment with Ispin in the mountain all those weeks ago when someone brought up Takesis to him, and he kind of was like, he couldn't believe that this name was being said aloud. So kind of a similar moment there.
And in fact, Melvin's going to ask Sneak for the bag of holding and very carefully pull out the vial, the essence of another world, and set it in front of Alastrius, like very carefully, not unstopping, like it's an artifact.
Yeah, okay, I'll tie this together a little. Sneak, with your 7 investigation, you find a cool little magnifying thing, like a cool little thing that's just on the desk of Alastrius, and you can't help but like want to like play with it a little bit. And it's like in front of everyone. It's you know, it's on the desk. It seems pretty safe. It's not like, you get the feeling that Alastrius probably won't react. And so you get that with your 7. Alastrius is like, Sneak, take a look at that vial with that little device you're playing with. And then as you do that,
Okay.
Sneak, you can do another investigation check actually now with that at advantage using that tool. But this time it'll be very specific to this thing. Alastrius then backs up and kind of
9.
just says,
Should I roll one more time?
Yeah, at advantage. One more time.
Not even, not good.
Oh shit. Yeah, Sneak, you're like, it looks pretty, it looks gooey, it's kind of like moving around a little bit, like kind of living. But you're like, yeah, it's cool goo. It looks like bouncy cool goo or something.
Melvin's like, I love you, Sneak, but may I see?
You can do it at advantage as well. But yeah, as now your next party member is kind of fiddling with this little microscopy kind of tool. It's actually like almost like goggles, actually. They're like really funny looking goggles. Yeah, he answers your question, Willow, and says, the books I've read about this place of myth describe Sithicus as the Chaos Realm, as a world of chaos. This world... It's unclear if it was created by evil gods. That is, for those who believe in it, that is the main theory. And there are some, including in the sects of Paladine, that think that lost souls of evil, are trapped forever in this world of Sithicus, this world of chaos. But this isn't a world of, from what I've read, it's not a world of endless torture. It's actually a world of endless possibilities, a world where imaginations can form all kinds of creation. Well, it seems that whomever created this world had a dark imagination, and as such it is seen as a world of evil, a world of chaos. It is not of our planet. I cannot say that that's where we were, but what the hell else could it be? And he kind of like asks you all that question in fear.
So Melvin's he made the investigation roll. He got a 13 and an 8.
With the 13, you're kind of able to see like smaller pieces of it, like kind of looks like it's like weird, almost like amoebas, like within it, almost like little cells, kind of.
I have a question. Am I able to determine if Melvin thinks, based on his observations, if it's dangerous to the touch?
It seems, the way it's moving, it just seems eerie and it seems like something you probably don't want near you. Just the way that the different like pieces of it are moving at the cellular-ish level.
I'm gonna try something.
Okay.
I'm going to cast Identify.
Okay.
I haven't broke that spell out, so Melvin's gonna carefully hold it for a moment after observation. He's really looking at it, and he starts maybe humming something, a song Melodia taught him.
Okay.
What are you? What are you?
Yeah, and like, wow, this is a cool spell. You know what? This is awesome. I've never actually seen this spell used in action. I've definitely heard of it, and it actually gets a really bad rep, but this is a great time to use it. Alrighty. So you are touching the vial, you cast this spell, you sing it. Yeah. So immediately you know that there are no direct spells affecting this goo, but this is energy. Your understanding of the tide right now is kind of balanced in a way compared to a lot of people, just because you've kind of experienced different versions of it, you've seen different versions of it. Maybe not so much Solinari, but definitely definitely Lunatari and Nuatari, I would say. Maybe not Solinari, the white one, but still enough, it's still enough there. And it almost looks like it's a mix of all that kind of tidal energy, all that kind of power. So it feels very, very radiant, very powerful. It feels like a mix of all the 3 moons, like the energy and magic of all of them. And yet at the same time, it feels like there's something just really off about it that you can't fully, even with this Identify spell, it's not quite powerful enough to reach that next level of understanding. Yeah, it's not created by a spell, but it's more a piece of a world. It's a piece of that world. It really is, which maybe at some point was created by spells and magic. It probably was, but it's just a piece of that, if that makes sense. So you know it wasn't like a direct spell that was like, meow, here's a spell, I'm making it. Does that make sense?
Right, and I
Is
think
there any part of that I missed? You cannot attune to this. There's no way you can attune to this.
right.
The only thing you can pick up is that maybe someone with immense skill can use this to amplify something, maybe. It has to be someone with immense skill. And what is amplified and what is made from it is unknown. But it has to be a proficient Tide user or someone at least very knowledgeable in arcane properties. Because this is new. This would be something probably new even to them, unless they know about the realm of chaos as well. So yeah, I guess to put it in like layman's terms, this is it's like magic. It's like ripping a piece of hell, right? It's like ripping just a piece of energy of hell and putting it in a vial. But this isn't technically hell, but just to kind of, I guess that's what Melvin gets. This is literally a piece of another world, and it seems to channel all kinds of tidal energy, not just one. Kryn is normally pretty uniform with the tide. You fall into one of the moons normally.
I think Melvin's gonna like kind of hold up the vial or like set the vial down and kind of like withdraw his hands. They're kind of shaking and explain to them that the arcane webs are so wound so tightly that I can't even begin to unravel them, and sort of relay that information that we all just heard out of character as Melvin would spin it into character so that the bronze bombers plus Ilastrius know that.
Yeah, I guess the easiest way that could be explained is like this is of another world and it's using the magic of all the moons and maybe more, something else too. And that kind of makes sense, I think, even to the non-arcane users. You would know that in Kryn, the magic comes from the moons. Specifically, people normally just use one of the moons, right? This seems to be energy using all of them plus something else. And Ilastrius is like, you should keep that then, my friend. And he actually kind of looks at it in a little bit of fear and be careful with that. I don't think we should let that fall into the wrong hands.
Immediately hands it to Sneak. But yes, honestly, he does immediately hand it. Like he kind of just goes,
right.
And then Sneak back in the bag of holding. But don't
takes it.
Drink it. Don't drink it.
I won't. That's so funny you say that. But all right, fine. Sneak will take it and then just like haphazardly like toss it in the baggie too, like not even really care. Just like toss it.
And then Ilastrius is like, yeah, that's all I know though. And he kind of looks at you, Willow, and Melvin, and all of you, but just about that. That's all I know about the world of Sithicus. I personally never believed in its existence, but I certainly have my doubts now. Yeah, and he kind of like reaches into his drawer and he grabs a bunch of tickets and he gives them to you all. He's like, here's some meal vouchers for the restaurant. Just a small amount of thanks to go rest. I need to rest, but then I think I'm gonna do some research on this realm of chaos and make sure our security's good down there. I fear that maybe I want to close the entire museum down, but perhaps that would cause a bit too much suspicion and fear among the populace.
Are there paintings in the cafe?
There are paintings everywhere. There are paintings everywhere, but we know the origin of most of our works, although I guess...
Sorry. We know the origin of most of them.
Except the one you obtained. So maybe I should close that down? He's talking about the Lidaro painting, actually. Oh, gods.
Yeah, I would have somebody guarding that, maybe.
Yes, good idea. Yes, good idea. Okay, well, if you would all kindly leave my office, please, as I get this all organized.
Bye, mister.
Thanks again, my dear friend, and please enjoy that meal. There's also a drink ticket attached to it. So you guys scurry out. Sneak scurries out. I'm guessing straight to the restaurant. We don't have to do the restaurant thing. It's awesome. It's delicious. Great food. Fancy and artsy and cafe-y, and maybe you guys kind of reflect and chat.
Long rest?
Yeah, long rest. You guys are, I'm sure, beat and don't want to do more today. But yeah, long rest. You enjoy the restaurant. Yeah, more guards kind of shuffle into the war room, right? The Astarian entrance that was a war room, and maybe are doing something to the Lidara painting now. And yeah, they actually do kind of close off that section, which is the entrance for now. Yep. So you guys are long rested. You guys are good. And I think we can take a break. But before we do, I know that Willow really wants to do something kind of solo and quickish, just kind of finding some answers. This is because now we're back in in this like downtime-y amorphous thing. So Willow kind of wants to talk to Isabella, ask them a few questions. And I also know that Melvin, you might want to do something too, and the group is definitely welcome to join, at least the Melvin one, I think. So is there a preference to who wants to go first there? And then also you guys can do anything you want to. All right, Willow first. Okay, cool. So Willow, we'll take a 10-minute break, everyone. Sneak, is there anything you want to do?
No, Willow's down, not that way.
I think for me, she's
No, I was just
diagonal.
kidding.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's probably different. I was just being.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do a 10-minute break. We'll start with Willow real quick on our way back. So we'll get back at the 53 of your time. So yeah, so we are now kind of moving, a couple of days may have passed, some time may have passed, and Willow, you kind of get the urge to learn more about the Raven Queen, right? You get just this being, this god you've interacted with now a few times in your life, and you go to none other than Isabella Dreeker, our friend from the New Atari Temple, who also seemed interested in that god, that goddess. If you remember her outfit, she kind of has literal raven wings on her, like kind of cape-like thing. And yeah, you make it to the temple again, and it looks like it's a lot cleaner actually, from our friend Lyx, who has spent some time out at the temple kind of cleaning it up, how she cleaned up the new house you all got with Gust and stuff and sweeping things around. So it's looking brighter in here. I mean, it's still super dark and like kind of hauntingly beautiful, but definitely less like decrepit, ruined, and more just like hauntingly beautiful. And you kind of enter in like that big old, whatever I called it, that hole in the ceiling. Sunlight is kind of pouring through it, and Isabella actually has some like tables, some nice little cute tables kind of set out in that space, in that main entrance where the pools were. And she was actually kind of practicing the spirit keys and playing kind of the jingle that you keep hearing on the Roll20 if you're hearing it. And yeah, and she like greets you and has tea ready if you want it, and little treats and pastries, and is just pretty happy to see you actually, and is kind of just like, yeah, what can I help you with, dear?
Well, I wanted to give you some time after, everything that happened. I imagine I probably came back or Willow probably came back a couple times to help clean up, but not really talk a whole lot in depth about this stuff. But I know that you have a very strong connection to the Raven Queen, and despite my best efforts, I've not really been able to find anything honestly very helpful out about her. So I wanted to just ask you some questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. More than happy to talk about the Raven Queen. After New Atari, she's the goddess I most love and worship. And she's like, would you like some tea?
Sure. Yeah.
And she kind of like gracefully like pours you some tea in this cute little, it's still a black, it fits the theme, right? Black kettle. But it's pretty, and it has like some nice little like bluey ornamentation on it. But yeah, go ahead, Willow.
Yeah. Also, just a quick question. That strength and pull I felt before, is that still present?
No, it's actually
Okay.
gone. Yeah.
Okay.
Feels more normal in here, actually.
Okay. So she's just going to take a little time, explain what she knows, that she first interacted with the Raven Queen when she was surprise attacked and didn't think that she was supposed to survive, but was sent back. And, I have these wings and I don't really know anything about them. Sometimes I can have them out. I think I can have them out whenever I want. I'm not really sure. Sometimes they're out for a minute. Sometimes I feel a lot stronger and they can be out for longer. Is that an attribute of being close with the Raven Queen? I don't really understand any of what's happening.
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't believe any of my sisters, many of whom also heavily worshipped and trained in the ways of the Raven Queen and her teachings, including myself, we have not grown wings to my knowledge. None of us have, but we do yearn to learn to fly, and I actually knew how to, and you've seen her cast the fly spell on herself and fly around in that one epic battle. So you know that they do it, but yeah, she says no, none of them have like grown wings. And she's like, actually, I just met a fellow who is a bird person. They're called Aarakocras, and I did not know of them in my time. He was very weird, a journalist. But anyways, I digress. I don't believe he's a follower of the Raven Queen either. It seems like that was who he was. But
well, I hope he was good company. We did accidentally send him your their way. But
He was he was hysterical, actually. I've not laughed so hard in so long. He says after, I invited him for tea because he seemed genuine, told him a little bit of what happened here, actually. He says he wants to make a giant report and bring justice to the situation and make the red robes and the white robes make amends for what they've done. And he said he would run their names into the ground if the courts did not do something about me and the temple. I told him to hold off a bit and he could still do research, as much research as he wanted, but I'm not sure I'm ready for such a trial yet. But I guess it's good to know a journalist is on my side. Is he trustworthy, do you think?
I think we think so. We obviously haven't told him everything that's happened because, once you tell a person with a big mouth, everybody knows. But so far, he's been very helpful and actually advocated very well for us, which we've really appreciated. So we try to give him what we can without causing issues.
Okay, that's good to hear. He also gave me this weird doodad that apparently calls him, and she shows that weird kind of
Walkie-talkie.
steampunk beak call thing that you guys also have, that wind-up thing. So he's very serious, clearly. But anyways, I digress. Yes, the Raven Queen, or as I like to call her, the matron of ravens, because she's more of a mother to those who follow her. She's kind, she cares for us, and many call her the one in between, the one who guides you to the next world, which is why we show so much respect for her. I know that she's the one that guided my sisters back to the realm beyond. Yes, I have not heard of anyone growing wings because of worshipping her. The only one I can think of is Lidara of the Flaming Sword, who we have a statue of. She's the one who killed the false evil gods. She's the one who, with Lord Zanis Sarlamir, fought back the Knights of Takesis all those hundreds of years ago and stopped them from summoning Takesis herself to re-enter our world. And she's the one who tried to prevent the cataclysm, who tried to save us all, and ultimately it's unknown what happened to her, but it seems that she perished along with everyone that journeyed with her. Our people, she visited our temple, and our ancestors and our historians said that she grew great wings on command, and she looked as if she was an angel.
Was she known to be human, or we just had this very weird experience that I'm sure I will tell you all about later at the museum, but there was this weird entity and he called me an ASMR, and I have no idea what that means. Because I always thought I was human, and maybe that's just a name for like a derogatory. I don't really know.
The old scripts called her an Athrimo, which is Elvish, for what we thought was angel, but it sounds similar to what you're saying. I do remember your wings, but I thought it was some weird magic that your friends were doing on you. You grew it yourself.
Yeah, they have a lot of weird, amazing magic, but I think that one is just me. Although I can't really do anything else like they can. The only thing I can do is through my staff, but that's with, this is so weird to talk about, a different god's blessing. It feels weird to talk to gods.
Indeed, it does. Their machinations are unknown to even us followers, but we still follow and believe. But you sound like an anomaly, my dear. I am a bit perplexed to hear these direct connections to someone our order holds in such high esteem. I can learn more about Lidara. Her full name is Lidara Caladan. She was known to be a princess of the Sylvanesti realm of Saloon, I think. I think I got that right. She left her royal heritage to become a knight because she thought that was more noble of her. And ever since then, her legend began. Perhaps I could learn more about her, and to be fair, there isn't much said about her wings besides the legends that we speak of. I wasn't alive, obviously, during her existence. And yeah, and she's like, she kind of like summarize, or like, kind of to summarize, she says the more that they can clean up this temple again and deflood it, the more books that can be found again. Maybe there's something about Lidara Caladan. And she kind of tells you about a horrifying creature that seems to still be stalking the waters of the temple, but she is way too scared to take it on anytime soon, and is pretty confident that you guys can't take it on yet. So, yeah. Side quest for the future. There is a being in these waters of the Nuatari Temple. She says it's a tentacled being that's still stalking the lower main levels of the temple, and she can't quite access everything and deflood it and fully clean the temple until that being is sealed, slain, or anything. So yeah, that's something for the future, and I'll tell you, out of character, there's no way in hell you guys can handle that. right now. But you guys have fought its tentacles and almost died just to its tentacles. So, yep.
I remember that.
Yep. So
Um,
that same being is still stalking the waters of the New Atari Temple, which is still pretty flooded, especially the lower levels.
Okay. I think towards the end of the conversation, because I'm sure it keeps going for a bit,
Yeah.
I'm just going to thank her for being so open and willing to help. And I assume I did this at like morning, mid-afternoon, and just spend the rest of the day like continuing to help her clean up because it's a huge place and, we come in and
Oh,
out, but
okay. Nice.
there's only so much we can do. So like kind of a thank you for continuing to look
Hell
into
yeah.
this, continuing to help clean.
Awesome. So yeah, you continue to kind of help clean. You finish your tea, you have pastries. You still chat a little more about the Raven Queen. You kind of just learn more about how they seem to be this goddess of kind of limbo in between, but also transition. There's legends that span that she employs different agents throughout different worlds, and she uses the name Thanatos. She uses the name the Grim Reaper. It's known as the Grim Reaper in other worlds. She employs these beings supposedly to also help beings around different realms transition to the planes beyond. But she's the main one. She's the one that has their threads, is what they called it. She uses the word the golden threads, and she does say that it's very unclear exactly what she wants at all times, but she seems to at the heart of it really care about the people that she supports, even if her expressionless face doesn't show it. Oh, and she does say that there was once a temple to the Raven Queen not far from this temple, but it was destroyed many hundreds of years ago by the Astarian Empire, and she describes the fountain that you saw in the New Atari Temple. It had a beautiful fountain that spewed this black water where it was supposed that you could talk to her if you were brave enough to dive into its deep pool. So you kind of, experience that in another realm. But that place is supposedly completely destroyed and desecrated by the Istarian Empire many hundreds of years ago. Anything else?
I think we covered everything. Did we talk about her, like it's not common for her to send people back or is common?
Oh yeah, she says it is common actually to those who she deems worthy. But it's still, well, she says it's common in the history of the Raven Queen, but not in general, right? In generationally and stuff, it's very rare. But she's known to have done that throughout the eons.
Okay.
And she only does that when something's really wrong. Actually, one thing I forgot to say is that there is a theory that she could be connected to the goddess of fate, Istis, and some even speculate that she might be Istis herself in another form, and that's why she wears a mask. And the goddess of fate, Istis, can see the threads of fate of every being ever. She can see where your path will lie, and she can see when you will die. So that's a theory. But she's very firm. Isabella's like, I do not believe that at all. She thinks they're different beings, and she believes that maybe Istis isn't even real.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for that, and thank you guys for sticking around for that. Appreciate it. That was really awesome for my backstory.
Hell yeah. No, that's awesome too. And we wrapped in a couple of, now you guys know what Scrip is up to. He's kind of think of him as like this big journalist who's like, oh, I got this Pope, and he's, really researching this big story of injustice now that he sees is terrible, right? The story of the betrayal all those years ago. Cool. Alrighty.
And one last thing,
Oh yeah,
when
go
I
ahead.
get back to the house, I don't necessarily tell them like everything that I learned, but I tell them a little bit. Like I was talking to her about the Raven Queen, some of what I learned, and also about the monster that's still there for a future time. Obviously not right now.
Lyx, you definitely knew about that monster, and I think Melvin, you may have visited Isabella in downtime, if I'm not mistaken, or no? Okay, Lyx definitely knew about the monster, and you were scared.
Yeah, Isabella told me. Okay.
Just making sure the party knew about the side quest for later, basically.
Yeah. Oh, but trust me, it's out of character. You guys know. Cool. All right, Melvin, you want to do this still? Do you want to contact Fizzban? So, do you want to explain it to the team what's going on here, like what you have found out about Fizzban?
Yeah, so Fizzban writes back to Melvin, and he says when they're at like the table at their house, he'll probably read it, and it says, "Hello, Melvin. I received your thoughtful letter and feel very touched by your words. I have much to say, but I would rather share in person. Feel free to bring the rest of the bronze bombers. You can find me at the Temple of Paladine most afternoons. Hope to chat with you soon. Fizzban." He sort of shows it to the rest of the party.
And yeah, and the context here is that you kind of asked if he knew Hemruruth, I think, in the Morning Flame. So if you guys can remember Hemruruth, our bronze dragon friend from the beginning that you guys fought Soth with, right? The Morning Flame, that super powerful and maybe probably evil magic item that Soth was trying to get, very desperately trying to get from you all. Sounds like, and remember whom Ruruth said he was going to give it to a trusted ally. It turns out Melvin connected the dots that it's Fizban. So Fizban is I'll show him real quick. He's kind of the dark-skinned human who helped you all the first time you got from Vogler, right? He was at the port, just get people to tents, get them healed up. He was kind of just wearing this humble clothes, kind of running about. It was very brief. You guys might not remember, but he was the one that was there at the port, just like getting people help. He helped Lyx's dad, Waywin, got him to a tent immediately. And you guys haven't interacted with him too much since then. But yeah, that's him. He's got this nice beard, bald head. Kind of, I always imagine him as having a pretty powerful but warm voice. And I always thought of him as having like the voice, if you've seen Lilo and Stitch, a Gantu, that giant alien, kind of like that voice, but like nice, not a giant evil alien, but a very nice commanding voice. If anyone, whoever does want to go to the Temple of Paladine, and remember Paladine is the god of justice, the dragon, the platinum dragon. I think I put it on Roll20. This is the temple on the outside. It's this big old thing for anyone who comes along in Melvin, and I think this would be a couple days after to Willow, your thing. And yeah, this is in the southmost part of the like middle ring of Calaman. Yeah, you guys can still see Castle Calaman's tall towers touching the heavens upon the great hill in the background. And there's more nice residences here in the middle ring area. There seems to be some nice businesses and establishments. And yeah, remember you guys, your new house is in the outer ring. So colloquially, that's kind of like known as the crappier part of Calaman. The middle ring is like more like middle class. And this is where the Temple of Paladine is. And you all actually see Fizban in front of the temple tossing bird seed to, it looks like 6 gold finches, 6 little gold birds that are kind of hopping around on the ground. Let's say he's somewhere over here. You guys don't really need to spawn yourselves unless you really want to like run around. And yeah, the birds are going to town on the bird seed. Fizban's in his humble gray robes. And he smiles kindly at you all as you all approach. And he's kind of like, "Hail, friends," as he keeps kind of like tossing bird seed to everyone. And he actually invites you all immediately to one of his favorite cafes. It's called the Brass Dragon Bean. If you all want to, he's offering to pay for your coffee and any pastries or light breakfast that you want if you all want to go there. Do you guys want to do that, or you just want to chat with him here and no one's hungry?
I'll never say no to free calf.
Yeah, and it is early. Let's say this is probably like early afternoon or something. Cool, it sounds like you guys will all go. And yeah, I actually have no idea what this place looks like. I kind of imagine like a brass dragon head kind of at the entrance. It's very close by. Let's say it's like somewhere behind the temple over there. And yeah, it's pretty busy. Kind of got that hipster vibe, hipster coffee shop vibe to it. Kind of clean, a little too clean, but still, kind of nice. But medieval. Add some medieval touches to it, some fucking dragon heads around. Yeah, I mean, maybe they have funny little coffee machines that have like dragon faces on them that's spitting out like coffee or something. And funnily enough, one of the baristas, it looks like actually the cashier, is Audrey, our friend who looks exactly like Stevie from Schitt's Creek. She is here. It looks like she is working at this place. I remember she left early. She left Bogler early with Misko to get the hell out of that situation as soon as possible. She was, she worked at the Ferngully Inn for a long time. So yeah, Audrey, long time no see, but I did not forget about her. She's there. Fizban you guys want to role play any orders or anything? You guys can. You can jump in and I'll probably say yes to whatever the hell you think of. Anything coffee related, cafe related, breakfast related, pastries, whatever.
Do you have a Monster Energy drink?
Oh, hey, Sneak. I guess that's how you say hi after a long time not seeing me. Yeah, I do. I guess I have something like that.
She kind of like grabs a can of like this like ice cold, like it's more of a coffee-ish thing, but she's like, it's a little juicy, I guess.
I'm looking for something carbonated with no coffee. I don't actually like coffee.
Okay. Well, okay, here we go. And then she gets like the next best thing. It's definitely more juicy and it's small. It looks kind of like a sparkling water thing, but it looks like it has a little bit of, do you want caffeine?
Yes.
Yeah. So it looks kind of like sparkling, more like a fancy sparkling water with caffeine in it. So not quite Monster Energy, but it's the fancy next closest thing.
This will totally work. Do you have a funnel and can you shove this up my asshole? I need that. I need that.
And she's like,
that's how I get my pay.
I don't get paid enough for that, but here, sure, I don't care. Take it.
And she gives you a funnel. She gives you like a random broken funnel that she kind of like dug in from somewhere below. It looks like it was definitely out of commission, but it has a crack through it. But there you go, you got it.
Thanks, friend. Bye.
Yeah, nice to see
Melvin's
you.
gonna step up to the counter because as Sneak runs past, I guess, and be like, "Hi, Audrey. How are you?"
A lot better, alive, which is good. It's good to
Yeah.
see you all.
It's good to see you too. When did you get here?
Oh, you know, whenever the campaign allowed for it. I don't fucking
That's fair.
remember.
That's fair.
3 weeks ago.
Do you like your job?
This is way better than working for that asshole Bakaris, yes.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, one of the baristas is like super cute. He's not in right now, so I don't care.
Nice.
Fair warning, that bitch Bakaris did make it out, and they are walking around the city, just in case you haven't come across them yet.
Yeah, I've seen the news reports of his dad being a general or something pretty bad. And he lied about being mayor, but I guess it's whatever.
They have a long history of lying about the things they do.
What? Why do you care about that? Why would you know?
Why are you challenging me after seeing me for the first time in 3 weeks?
I'm emotionally shocked that you guys are alive, and this is how I'm reacting, I guess.
We care because we all worked for them too, and they sucked then.
Sneak, I'm a girl. What the hell?
Melvin says, "Well, they kind of still suck. They still suck."
Fizzban is absolutely shocked. He's like, what the fuck is going on? He's just looking at you all. He's not saying anything. And he's definitely like ready to pay. But sorry, what'd you say, Melvin? They still suck.
Yeah, the Bacardus still kind of suck. But if you please, I'd love a fruit and cheese plate. I think I saw that around here somewhere.
Yeah, we have that. I guess that's already prepared. I think I should know this.
And then she like sneaks down and grabs that thing.
Yeah, I assume yeah. So I guess Melvin's gonna like awkwardly shuffle to the side, like social anxiety.
And she's like, yeah, I get it too, Melvin. I'm actually really happy to see you all. It's just hard for me to show it, but I'm genuinely happy you guys aren't dead.
You too.
Genuinely
Can I
happy
have-
you're not dead even.
Sorry I ran away, but I don't know how to survive that, I think.
Oh, I mean, we all wanted to run away. Can I have an Earl of Solamnia tea?
Nice. That's really good. Earl of Salamnia tea. Yeah, and that tea like kind of comes with like little the cup has like the little horns of the Knights of Salamnia helmet, you know, the two horns.
She's like, yeah, I'm glad you're alive. Can I get a tea?
This is awesome. I did not even plan, I barely planned for this, but this is amazing.
War has caused us to lose all social skills.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, yeah, right? Like fucking COVID made us lose social skills. Imagine fucking war. Jesus. Yeah, this is great. So I mean, they have to take some time to make that one, Lyx, but you see them start preparing it and she like put it in or whatever, a little paper. And then, yeah, Willow, did you order?
The tallest cup of the strongest calf you have. Do a little calf ole.
Great, that'll be our brass blast something.
Brass blast something clever.
Brass blast glass. There we go. Brass blast glass. Jesus Christ. And right up, Willow. It's good to see you. Thanks for sticking up for me all those years and stuff.
Of course, anything to stick it to them, and honestly, you didn't deserve any of that. No one would.
And you see her kind of like get a little bashful at that, and she's like, yeah, I guess. And then she like writes down the order. And Fizzban is like, just some chamomile tea for me. And it's really good to see you, Audrey. And I'm happy. I had no idea these were your friends. It's very nice to see you all meet again. And Audrey's kind of like happy to see Fizzban, and she's like, yeah, of course, Mr. Fizzban, sir. And he's like, just Fizzban, dear. And he pays for everything. He pays for everything. He just orders an herbal tea. And then he says, well, shall we find a place to sit? Unless, sorry, I don't want to interrupt any more conversation with Audrey. But there's also, he doesn't say this, by the way, but there is a line that's starting to form. And like, there's some people that are kind of like leaning over that line and like kind of looking at you all like, what the fuck are you guys doing taking so long ordering?
Listen, we all trauma bonded through work. Give us a minute.
Yeah, so Colton, you probably, it actually makes sense that Sneak wouldn't super remember her, but you kind of ordered beer from her all the time in the Ferngully Inn. You didn't work there, but you went there a lot. This is where everyone worked in
Also,
Vogler.
also, Sneaks doesn't remember anybody. Like if you're not
Oh, we know.
directly a
We
friend
know.
of him, he doesn't remember anybody. And especially if like I'm drunk and I'm ordering drinks, for sure I'm not gonna remember you.
Right.
I'm not for sure.
So yeah, so Fizban kind of like shuffles you all to a table. Maybe there's actually a second floor, like a nice little wooden staircase that leads to like a quaint little second floor area. Nice decorations, kind of bright and pretty. Fizban just says, well, thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoy these beverages and food. But I guess I'll just cut to the chase since I know you all are quite busy. Melvin, you've got quite the astute eye. Indeed, it is I. I am the one whom Ruruth came to and gave the morning flame to. Whom Ruruth, you see, where do I even begin? How do I make this concise for you all? Well, I am a devout priest of Paladine. I run the temple to Paladine here in Calaman. And I also would like to consider myself a bit of a dragon expert, a bit of a dragon aficionado. I do love birds as well. I love birds a lot, actually. And I do love a good baked good, and I love baking myself. And he actually, as he says that, he kind of like reaches into this, like, he actually got a little plate of like a bunch of assorted baked goods for you all to dive into if you want. And he kind of like grabs a little tart and starts like chewing it and kind of like has a weird little smile for a moment, like breaks his calm, kind of elegant priestly demeanor as he's chowing down on this sweet. And he says, and in my, studies of dragons, well, I found out Humruruth, he had his disguise on, but I know a dragon when I see one, and I know when they walk amongst us. It's maybe a sixth sense that I have, just all my research that I've done on them. And he was shocked and impressed. And, well, you all know Humruruth. Once you impress him and once you are his ally, he's a firm ally of yours. And he's quite an intense fellow still. But yes, he came to me randomly. I was just walking along the Calaman Bay and I hear someone calling from below the bridge, below the port. And I see his head pop out of the water. And, of course, I'm shocked by this. And he just says, I need to give you... He just yelled at me and said, I have a horrible, evil artifact that you need to take. He's like, I don't have time for this. And what am I supposed to do, right? And, I take him to get some calf. He likes calf, except, he always draws a lot of attention because he gets about 10 of those, the ones that you got, Willow, actually, the brass blast glass. And that still doesn't suffice his appetite, but whatever. Anyways, I'm rambling on. He gave me the morning flame, and the only thing I knew what to do with it was to contact Marshal Nestra immediately. And they have placed it at the top of Castle Calaman, in the highest tower. It is being guarded by 2 Knights of Solamnia and also many guards of the city watch, of the blue suit. I am not sure why we had to go to such extreme measures with the morning flame. He mentioned this dark night, but that you all slayed him, probably. And he said that we should be good. And then he's kind of looking at you all like, it looks like you're all clearly making expressions and nodding your heads that Lord Soth is not dead. And he's kind of taken aback by that. And he's like, did we mess up? What's going on here?
Well, Lord Soth, where even to begin with it? Well, when we first fought him with Harumaruth, he was incredible, really. Before we started working out, our dynamics as a team and even the tide, I mean, he was pretty strong. I don't know that 2 Knights of Salamia and just the guards are going to keep him out. He seemed really determined to have that artifact. But at least Marshal Nestra knows. If anyone can protect it, I suppose it's you and Nestra.
Oh, me, I know not of the tide. I did see that in your letter, actually. I am not a white robe, my friend. I don't know anything about I can't channel the tide at all. I simply have a good relationship with them through my faith in Paladine and the gods of good. But I appreciate that you thought I was some kind of powerful tide user. Yes, so this Soth being was not killed. That is a little concerning. You all are sure of this? You've seen them again?
Yes, he tried to kill me, and I know his name, but Holly is blanking out on it right now.
Darrett?
Darrett, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you're good.
Yeah, he tried to kill me and Darrett in the street once, and I believe we also saw him on the hill as we were trying to run away from the ruins of... Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, Vogler. Yeah, you saw
Yeah,
him and 2 other beings next to him. Yeah.
So he was part of the assault as far as we know.
And then he's like, that is incredibly concerning news. Okay, then. Well, today is the military ceremony. And yeah, so surprise, today is the day. God, Marshal Nestra's probably incredibly busy. I feel like we should relay this information to her as soon as possible. Or am I overreacting here? If this being is as powerful as you both say, as you all say, then perhaps the morning flame is not safe up there.
Does everyone in the government know about it?
Yes, the High Council for sure, and I'm sure the governor, of course, knows. Yes, I mean, the Morning Flame, I do know some of its legend, actually. It's said to be an item of pure evil and destruction, born of the deaths of millions. Its exact origins are unknown, but it is thought to have formed during the cataclysm itself. No legends occurred of this item until after the cataclysm. No rumors, no words. It's believed to have an incredible power over life and death. It can both bring you incredible life out of nowhere, heal your wounds, heal your deepest cuts, heal your deepest, most painful injuries. And you, as he says that, you all remember that moment when you guys got a long rest while Lyx picked up the morning flame at those very first sessions. And perhaps it's believed that it's connected to Takesis herself. And he kind of like grabs his throat like in pain and his heart a little as he says Takesis. He kind of struggles even to say her name.
Yeah, I think that we should probably mention this to Nestor at once. I didn't realize how woefully unguarded it was in its current state. Not that you guys would have known. That's rather terrifying.
It would seem as though Takesis's believers are at the heart of most of these ills. The Red Dragon Army, the quest for the Morning Flame, they're somehow connected with Lord Soth.
It's always
The missing dragon eggs, everything. Everything seems to lead back to Takesis's followers. Maybe if the rest of these gods are real, Takesis must be as well.
Of course she's real, my friend. And you are correct. My gut tells me there can be no other but her. And her evil and her malice and her patience. Takesis is anything if not patient. Biding her time throughout the eons. 100 years is nothing to her. As far as I know, she's been sealed in a realm beyond our comprehension for centuries, stopped by our heroes Huma and Heart, the colossi that still guard us to this day.
Well,
But I think
lately the realms have been a little thin. Melvin's gonna kind of say abstractly.
so. Sorry, the realms are starting to look a little what?
Thin.
Oh,
Like
it
but
would seem so. So you start scribbling this letter in front of Fizban, Lyx? I feel like you have to if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hide it.
He holds your hand and he's like, I fear you must go to the ceremony and try to catch her before it begins. But the ceremony is only going to start in like 20-ish minutes.
You said it was breakfast. We're having breakfast, bro.
Afternoon, it was a late breakfast. I said it was early afternoon.
Okay.
it seems as though we've got to go.
Yes,
I don't even know that we'll have time to get the Emerald Pen message to her. Bronzeburst.
No, you must tell her directly.
Okay.
Let's go. Get your stuff ready.
Wait, I
Yes.
do know, just quickly, I do know of the quest of the eggs that Humruth seeks, and I do not know much more than any of you all. But Melvin, you're on the right path. It is Takesis. It always has been. In the beginning there was two, Takesis and Paladine, brother and sister. The elegy of the first world resonates through our time still. Hang on to that. Know that Paladine is on your side, and I will be praying for you all. Now move quickly. Go!
Wait, can we split up? Should I drop off the letter to where it needs to go? Can we afford that?
I
If you
think we're
deem it-
just
if
I
you deem
think
it
we're just
necessary.
running.
I'm
Go,
sorry.
my friends. I'm sorry we couldn't meet on better circumstances. Sorry, Willow. You go. Anyone go.
Yeah, I was trying to do this earlier, but the conversation was flowing well. Maybe right before we leave, she's gonna lean into him and quietly, picking up on some of the context earlier, ask, "Do you know so much about dragons because you are one?"
What? No, of course not.
Insight check.
Go ahead. Oh, I'm taking that 3.
Yep. Nope. Yep.
Yeah, you totally believe him. He says, I'm happy to share all my knowledge I have on dragons, what I know about their weaknesses, what I know about their strengths, their histories with you all. I promise you, the only way I can be a true follower of Paladine, of good, is to understand evil as well, to understand Takesis, to understand the dragons she created. But now is not the time. Now is not the time to discuss that great lore. It will be useful to you all one day, I hope, but Humru feared. I've never heard him be scared of any being ever, and he feared this Lord Soth. I fear I've created a terrible mistake here, and I can try to run, but I do have a gimp leg. Oh shit, what's the word? He's got a fucked up kind of leg. He's got a little bit of a limp. He's not a very athletic person.
All
Yeah,
right,
I
well,
don't think we're gonna.
thank
And he's
you.
like, and he said, he looks at you, he's like, if I was a dragon, I'd be doing a lot more than just sitting here. I promise you, Willow.
Okay.
Well, prepare a quick sheet for us later. We've got to get out of here.
Yes, and he's like, I guess Red Dragons is the start, right? Okay, I'll let you know about Red Dragons one day. And then you guys run down the stairs, and you're heading to the military ceremony, which is at Castle Calaman. So it's quite the trek. You have to climb up that whole giant hill.
Are there any like pay for quick horse carriages or some sort of?
I have a horse.
Yeah, I was gonna say Willow has a horse.
She can carry maybe 2 people though. That's it.
Is there a
Willow?
cart nearby?
A crow?
A cart, like
Yeah, there's carts to like vendors. There's vendors with carts around.
a turnip cart, perhaps? That is.
Yes, there is. And it's actually Coconut Chris again, and he's kind of like dragging it with his body. He's actually kind of, strong. He's got that lean farmer build to him. As he's pulling up, now he's selling turnips.
God damn it, Coconut Chris.
And he looks just like me, guys. This is the NPC that is me with this hat. And he's just pulling this up. Looks like he's heading to the market. What are you guys doing?
I think you go ask Coconut Chris. I couldn't do it. We need to get to Castle Calaman fast.
Ask him what for the cart?
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Okay.
I'm not charismatic at all, so this will grow great. I guess I'll walk straight up to him and go, "Urgent Calaman military business. I'm sorry, we need to commandeer your cart."
Oh shit, you're Lidara Caladan, bro. Alright, I can't say no to the fucking hero of legend, bro. Fuck, I guess, take my shit. And he kind of like puts it down and is immediately convinced by you. He puts down his cart, he's like, I'm no one to get in the way of a legendary hero, bro.
Nice.
Willow just pauses for a second in complete shock that even kind of worked.
You immediately notice his eyes are super red too, and he's just like, whoa, bro.
I feel bad. I'm
I'll
gonna
toss
toss
him 4
just a
gold.
little bit of gold for what we're stealing, basically, and I guess really quickly pull out Spitfire and hook her up and let's go.
He's like, oh shit, just like the legends, bro. Holy shit, it's Gale, bro. It's Gale. Holy shit, it's Gale the fucking horse. Wow. And like you like throw the gold at him and it just like bounces off his chest and he's just like, wow. As he calls this horse Gale, which may have been the horse of Lidara.
Are we going, guys?
He's like,
Let's
yeah, you guys
go.
going? Like, what the fuck? Shit, I'm playing a small part in history today. Holy fuck.
Yeah, you are. Slaps him on their shoulders. Let's go, guys. Takes off.
And you guys all jump on this fucking wagon, just bursting.
Coconut with
Turnips. But there are some coconuts too, oddly enough, at the bottom. And some of them are like rolling out as like Willow, I'm guessing, is like really pushing Spitfire's maximum. So go ahead and do an animal handling check, actually. Things are heating up, friends. Oh shit, that's not great, actually. And I'm gonna say like Spitfire is actually trying their best, and you're doing pretty well. It's not you, it's the crowds of people that are going, because this is a huge event for Calaman. This is an event that people really, really love. So you guys kind of have to yell at people. Maybe you have to admit like, hey, we're part of this thing, I'm guessing, like, or I don't know, you guys can try to do stuff to get the crowds moving quicker, but they're lining up to get up this. Remember, it's like a giant kind of winding stone like hill, right? A hill, and there's giant walls along the line. The walls have scorpions and guards on them, those legendary statues, every now and then on parts of the wall. People are, it's tough to get through very quickly. Is there anything you guys do?
I think it worked once, so this is going to be the thing that she keeps trying to do, is just like official Calaman war business. We got to go, get out the way, things like that, and just yelling ahead.
I'm gonna take one of the potions that I got, one of the mystery potions.
Okay, which one?
I don't know. Number 36.
Okay, you drink it and you actually get a little anxious right away, and you're like, you have to drink more of it. Like, you really want to drink more of that potion. It tastes amazing. You're just
And
like,
that's it.
it feels like a drug. It's like a drug consuming you. It feels like the tide. You're just like, I gotta get more. And you actually lose focus to the situation. as you desperately want this potion more. You want to inhale it.
Damn.
What does Lyx do?
Am I faster for it? Do I have any extra energy? Oh, okay.
can
I'm
try to
agitated.
resist
I'm
it.
agitated. I'm agitated. No. So I'm agitated and I want more drugs. So I'm going to start acting a little bit wild and I'm going to be screaming at everyone, get the fuck out the way. We have places to be. Come on, people.
And as you do that, you want to drink more of it. Like the feeling is there. You have to drink more of that potion. Like in between yelling, and people are freaked out actually, and they start separating. And the path is made, and you all make it to this courtyard area. So it looks something kind of like this. And you all make it to kind of like an entryway. Guards immediately stop you all, and say like, obviously no horses allowed beyond this point. If you're here to be, initiated, then make your way toward Bob the Soldier. And you guys see real quick, I think I have him. There he is, Bob the Soldier. And I imagine him having a little, I got this on my travels, friends. He's kind of there. So if you guys remember Bob the Soldier, he was the guy that you guys beat up in the hedge maze, and then Melodia transformed into him. So Melodia, this is what you looked like when you went into Castle Calaman.
Come on, DL Trade.
And he's just like, he's the guy that gave you guys the map. He's the guy that gave you guys Castle Calaman's map. He told you about all the military benefits. Very minor character, but just a reminder of who he was. And he's like, whoa, look who it is. It's you guys here to join this big old thing. And he's, being all silly and like excited for you all. And he's like, I got you guys down. You guys can just go ahead and find your seat over there in the courtyard. And this show is about to start. Marshal Nestra's
Wait,
on.
Bob, where's the marshal?
Oh, she's on stage. Where you didn't hear, like, they're starting with her being the Rose Reborn. She's gonna be knighted as the first knight of the Rose in like 300 years, bro. That's like the big first thing. You missed that memo.
Oh God.
It's gonna start in just a couple minutes actually, so you should find your seats really soon.
How long does it take to get to the top of the castle?
What? Wait, you gotta be initiated. Wait, why do you want to?
That's not what we asked. We asked how long it takes.
It's a crazy run. Yeah, I mean, it's fucking spiraling. I actually got promoted. This is a spoiler. They're gonna promote me in the ceremony. I'm gonna be promoted to go guard that bitch. I'll be up there pretty much in like 10 minutes or something.
Oh my God, Bob, it's not safe. Like, I think it's gonna get took.
Hooked? What are you talking about?
I don't have
time.
Wait, you have intel? You guys have intel? There's gonna be an attack?
Maybe.
All right. Well, don't you worry. Remember what I said. I think meeting you guys was fate, and I might be the main character of this story. And then he like walks up to, he confidently walks up to this Fargab machine, a giant one this time, that's attached to a wall nearby. And he's like, watch this, guys. Promotion. And he's like, I'm gonna need like 10 more guards in the high tower. We got a couple of citizens sharing a little bit of fear about the situation, so I'm gonna need some homies to head over there. I'll be over there shortly myself. Yeah, just guard everything. Get the windows, get some scorpions up, put some scorpions in there, drag them in. He's like, I don't know. Yeah, just watch the skies. We got some citizens that are a little scared. I think they got spooked. They seem like they're a little caffeinated, but yeah, let's just keep them all chill.
Out.
And then you kind of hear like a report like, okay, sir, we'll get some scorpions in as soon as possible. He's like, we got more guards. He looks at you, oh, we got more guards. We got scorpions. Those things will take down dragons. I mean,
Can you fargab to the marshal?
She's on stage, bro. I'm not gonna interrupt this.
Respectfully, we need you to. We need to talk to her now.
You're gonna have to crash the party then in front of everybody if that's what you're gonna do.
I think maybe Sneak then will just be like YOLO, and then he'll just try to run out onto the stage.
Do an acrobatics check.
Acrobatics check. It's a new song that I'm working on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Really? Wait, you actually being serious? That's a good name.
No.
Oh, okay.
Should be. Title of my next
Oh my
video.
God, a fucking natural 20.
Whoa!
Okay. Zeke, how do you do it? How do you get through the crowd? You make it onto the stage, including guards that see you and reach out to you, and you you passed them.
I think
And
like
they're
I'm
guarding like the sides of the like there's little staircases there.
I think like I'm just so irritated with like everybody arguing and like, oh, like we're gonna figure it out. I'm like, you know what, dude, I'm gonna just run out there and just tell her like some things are going down. So I'm gonna make my way, and I'm little and I'm fast. I said like when I was running up those rocks, I was like, like doing that like Dragon Ball Z shift phase thing. Like I'm doing that now. Like I'm just going through legs. Like when someone tries to grab me, they're like, "Shink," I'm gone. Like,
Right. Yeah, and the crowd, there's actually like really pretty like horn music playing above you. So kind of like in that higher area, you guys see that like area above. The governor sitting there with the high council members, including Ilastrius, who seems to have a couple bandages on his head, recovering from his incident with you all still. And they're all shocked as they see this small little Kender, this small sneak who made his way onto the main platform. Imagine there's guards on like these staircases, Sneak. And I think you come in from like the right side here. You manage to like jump up the rails and dodge them, and you make it right up in front of the marshal who's standing there. Lord Vitus, or Sir Vitus, the tiefling knight, is there. Levna is there, the other knight of Salamnia. And then there's a very scary looking older dude there with big armor and a huge sword that's there. He immediately unsheathes his sword. Other guards that you pass by all unsheath their sword, take their swords out, point them at you. Sneak, you're basically surrounded. Any move and you're dead at this point, but you have the stage.
There's trouble. We got trouble brewing.
And then the marshal like tells everyone like, arms down. This is an ally, a bronze bomber. This is Sneak Deling, Commander Gaius. Please, we can trust him, I think, and I can handle myself.
Yeah,
and
you
then,
can trust me.
And then he kind of like, Commander Gaius puts his sword away and like kind of looks at you in anger and obviously huge suspicion. And Governor Miat, the rest of you kind of notice, like Sneak, you probably wouldn't notice this, but your party notices like Governor Miat leaning over kind of the railing in intense anger and looking like he's about to scream. And Marshal Nestor kind of already anticipating that, like kind of points a finger at him. And the crowd is just like, there's a crowd there, there's seats there. It's kind of like almost like a graduation style of arrangement for you all. Like you guys are supposed to sit in the middle as you get inaugurated into this thing. All right, Sneak, what do you say? The marshal's like, what trouble is going on that you have to interrupt one of the most sacred rituals that have happened in hundreds of years, Sneak?
I definitely did need to interrupt for the reasons that are super important. Melvin or Lyx or even Willow will explain further, as I am but just a dumb person, so...
And then the commander says, I should behead him now, Marshal. This is nonsense. And then she kind of like sighs and she's like, no, this is kind of normal for them. And then she kind of can tell the direction that you all are coming from. And Sneak, even though she's blind, she knew it was you right away. Just your style of movement, your footsteps. And she looks in the direction of where the rest of you are. And she's like, well, and then you guys are far away, so you're gonna have to walk up. And Bob the soldier's like just like in shock, and like just the crowd is just like, oh. And actually like a lot of Vogler is around in the crowd. They're kind of surrounding this perimeter. Your dads are there, Lyx. Everyone is here pretty much. And they're all just shocked. They were ready to see you all be initiated. They were ready for a memorial on the cities that have fallen so far. And they were ready to be inspired by the new Knight of the Rose, Marshal Nestra, who has not yet been knighted.
I know Sneak was really good at the acrobatics, but did we realize that he had left when he left? Like, did you happen to announce it? Because if Willow noticed he left, she would have started making her way over to it.
I think with his natural 20, I'll give him the power to have avoided you guys and just gone on his own volition there. But you noticed he was so quick, but you eventually noticed it, right? He was like 15 feet.
The crowds are talking and
yeah, he was like 15, 20 feet ahead of you before you noticed that he was at the bottom of the stair and then dodging guards. And then you were like, oh fuck. And then maybe you started making your way there. So you could be, if you want to be the first one, out of the crowd, then yes, you get that.
Unless somebody who's better at talking wants to have been ahead of me.
I'm going to say because you you built it that way. You are the first out of the crowd, and you're there. And maybe your friends come a little later, but they're all looking at you now. Marshall Nestra, this scary looking commander guy, Sir Vitus, all of them. Pretty much every character you guys know that's alive is here.
Does it look like I'll be allowed to approach? Because I know the guards are more on
In the
guard now.
audience, suddenly you see little Bakar stand up and says, "This is a disgrace to this beacon of the East. Arrest them immediately. They're disrupting tradition, culture, and unity against these dragon armies."
Shut up, Macaris! Melvin yells.
And then he takes out his sword and actually bumps another guard, and the guard's like, "What the or another initiate," and they're like, "Hey man, what the fuck?" And he pushes him and he's like, "Hey, don't fucking hit me." And they're kind of getting a little scramble there. And then Marshal Nestra yells and she's like, "Enough! Speak! If there's trouble, speak, Bronze Bombers, and I will not be scared to say your names. You're all the Bronze Bombers. Now Calaman knows, and this will not worry you further. Speak."
Am I allowed to approach? It's not a general audience.
Come, I'm not scared of any of you.
Okay.
Approach and speak.
Okay.
I'm immediately running up and saying, "We just learned that the Morning Flame is above here. Whatever you have protecting it, it will not be enough. Soth is not defeated. I don't know how that was miscommunicated. We just want to make sure that the Morning Flame and everybody in the city is safe. That is the only reason we interrupted."
I know Soth is not defeated, and I have 2 of my best knights guarding that. You think he's coming now?
Well, he's never really stopped before. He wants it real bad, Marshal.
And then Levna steps up. Actually, Levna, the one with the scar, she's like, "My squire is one of the most talented knights in this realm. He's guarding it with one of our finest warriors, Sir Taltus. If you fear we need more reinforcements, then we can bring them up." And then Bob actually steps in. He's like, "I got scorpions going, more guards, any dragons or whatever, we'll be good."
All I know is that we were with a dragon, and the dragon was scared to death of this entity.
And then the marshal is kind of looking around, and she actually looks like she's unsure what to do for once in her life. As the crowd is murmuring, right? The crowd is murmuring. They're like, "Morning Flame," and people are like, "Morning Flame, Bronze Bombers. Who are these people? A Lord
Well, I
Soth."
said that quietly to her.
Yes.
I wasn't yelling any of this.
Of the Morning Flame?
Yeah,
No,
this was Willow coming in.
This is not a general audience's conversation. She yelled
the
Bronze Bombers.
way it is right now, she wants you to just say it out loud. She does not want whispers.
Then I talked lower than normal talking voice.
Okay, let's take a break and we'll get back to it. How about that? Let's take a break. Yeah, so Willow, you kind of address the marshal. You just talk about kind of just realizing, just talking with Fizzban just now, shit, this thing is not well guarded in all yours opinions. Even with what Bob is doing, maybe it's might not be enough. And then so the marshal looks at you, Willow, and she's like, "Then what do you want? You interrupt this ceremony, you interrupt my knighting to become the first knight of the Rose in centuries. Do you want me to hold your hand, to walk up there and to guard the place with you all? Is that what you all want right now? If you think that this attack is coming now, then I will do that."
No, we were more of trying to get the information to you so that at the very least you were informed of what we now knew. If we had
You get a paramount importance, Lady Nestra, Marshal Nestra, Lady Marshal Sir Nestra.
The Morning Flame. And I guess now all the people of Calaman can know the truth too. The red robes and the white robes have cast a sacred spell on it to hold it in place on a pedestal at this highest tower of ours. We didn't just put guards and knights to guard it. It's magically being protected and sealed into the tower itself. With the scorpions, in case of dragon attacks, that's a good move. I commend you all for telling Bob. But do you all think there needs to be more than that? What could be more secure than being sealed into the tower itself through the strongest magic of the red robes in the white robe, through dozens of guards, city watch, and 2 of my finest knights who have sacrificed their path in this army, in this war, to defend Calaman, to protect this item?
Putting it underground?
Wasn't that where it was in the first place?
They're nodding yes.
I'd like to
Even
go.
Sneak's like, "Oh shit."
I'll go up and guard it if you would let me.
Maybe we should take it.
And then she says, "Very well. Lyx Sandbottom, come up on the stage."
I'll join too. Samesies. I'll help guard it.
All right, Sneak, you as well. This will be your quest then, to guard this Morning Flame. Night for every night and every day. Come up on stage then.
Why is Nestra boss lady in us? I mean, she is our boss, but
And she says this was supposed to happen later, but she grabs pins and she puts them on you, Lyx. She puts a silver and blue pin onto you, and then onto you, Sneak. Puts it on. It says, congratulations, you're officially a part of the military of Calaman. Your stations are in the high tower of Castle Calaman, and you are positioned to guard the morning flame from day to night. You will make acquaintance with my two knights of Solamnia. Sir Taltus and Squire Ceramil Vexalion will greet you, and then Bob the soldier can guide you there right away if you wish, but you can also enjoy the ceremony and head there afterwards if you want. The choice is yours. Do you need me to go as well? Are you that fearful?
No.
Then what is your choice? Are you staying for the ceremony?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll go.
Sneak, you're gonna start heading there?
Yeah.
I'll go too.
All right. So Bob the soldier is like waiting then, and he's like, okay, I guess let's go. Wow, that was intense.
Melvin is clinging to fucking Willow, like absolutely
Yeah.
underneath her like armpit.
Yeah, and so Lyx and Sneak, Bob's kind of guiding you very slowly, and he's kind of in shock, not saying too much. So now we kind of have two separate scenes now, two that are actually staying for the ceremony, two that are heading straight to the high tower.
Make sure your far gabs are on. Like shouts across her shoulder.
The ceremony begins. So Willow and Melvin, you see this. You see Marshal Nestor bow before Lord Vetus. As the crowd kind of shuffles back, they're kind of like murmuring, and like Governor Miat looks like he's about to murder all of you and is in absolute agony at the situation. The Commander Gaius guy seems a little disheveled too, but he kind of gets back into being serious and proper. The ceremony begins with Marshal Nestor, and Commander Gaius starts speaking and says, he kind of speaks in like a language that sounds kind of like Latin, and he says, that is the tongue of Solamnia, the ancient region where the Knights of Solamnia originated. To become a Knight of the Rose is not to just ascend in the Knights of Solamnia, but to ascend in the eyes of society, in the eyes of the people. That is why I, Commander Gaius, will be a part of this knighting. I am not a Knight of Solamnia, merely a military leader of Calaman, the beacon of the East, which has stood strong for generation after generation. And then he says, Knights of Solamnia, if you will. And then Levna says something about, I, a Knight of the Sword, agree to knighting Marshal Nestor, and she does kind of this like cool little pose thing, to knighting Marshal Nestor into the Knights of the Rose, and then she puts a sword on her, and then Lord Vetus says something similar, but for the Knights of the Crown, I, Sir Vetus, agree to knight Marshal Nestor into the Knight of the Rose, my dearest student, he adds at the end, and he kind of knights her other shoulder, and then Commander Gaius kind of takes his sword out. I represent the voice of Calaman, the people of Calaman, and the voice that now gives power to you, Marshal, as an official Knight of the Rose. After 300 years, the last to wear such a title was Lidara, Caladan, and Sir Xanis Salamir themselves. Now you are the Rose Reborn, Marshal Nestra Vendry! And then they go away as she stands and reveals kind of her shawl, removing her piece of armor, showing the rose there finally. And the crowd goes crazy as they applaud the marshal who has been appointed. So relatively quick ceremony there, and they all end with that Solamnic kind of Latin sounding tongue. Es solaris oth mithas. And it means like my honor is my life. And then Marshal Nestor takes out both of her swords, puts them in the air, and says, Es solaris oth mithas. And then, does this cool little pose thing. And then she's kind of like, well, done with that. What's next? And, the people are still clapping, and Governor Miat's kind of trying to find composure again as that happens. And then memorials start to happen, actually. Different cities that have fallen. There's different people that start speaking for these cities. There's actually one for Kendermore, the city of the Kender, way out in the west. A little representative kind of talking about the troubles that have plagued them, the green dragons that have attacked them, that have snuck up on all of them, coming out of invisibility, and how they have come here to help join the forces of Calaman to fight back against these dastardly foes. There's others that speak in the east, in the region of Kerr, of blue dragons, how they're still fighting and that they will still join the battle. And then finally, Darrett Highwater comes out to speak on Vogler. And as Darrett starts, all of this is happening happening. It's actually pretty quick. It's not too much of a preamble. It's a very high walk up this tower. Lyx and Sneak, you guys are in the tower. Just to kind of jump to you guys real quick. You guys are kind of in at the base. You're seeing the beautiful castle inside with the paintings of the queen with the owl bear, Queen Amastasia everywhere, kind of the regal spots of Calaman as you head to the beginning of this, the highest tower. And you can already see that they're putting, the elevators are taken up. There's actually some wooden elevators that are taking up on the sides the scorpions to go set them into place into the windows already. So it's a very efficient military, acting pretty quickly as you guys start going up these spiral stairs. You're in the tower though, at the bottom of it at the moment. And yeah, and Darrett is about to speak, and then from the crowd, there's a shout. There's a shout from the crowd. And it's someone that's kind of in like robes, but it seems like they're feminine. And they say, what is that on the high tower? What is that? And then the crowd starts to murmur and get scared. What is that? Melvin and Willow, do a perception check. Lyx and Sneak, you don't know anything. You don't know anything what's going on. You can't hear the crowd. You don't know anything. You two are far for any of this. Do perception checks, Melvin and Willow. Willow, you see Lord Soth walking up the high tower, the top of the tower. He's at the middle part of it. He's walking up it as if gravity doesn't affect him, and he's just walking up the tower at a vertical angle, just walking. Sword is sheathed. His that night hair is like leaning back because of gravity, obviously, and he's just casually like walking up this tower. And the crowd's getting scared, and they're like, "Wait, is that the Lord Soth?" And then just murmurs, and the crowd starts to freak out. And Darrett looks, and he like kind of grabs his chest in absolute fear as Marshall Nestor runs to him, and she says, "Is it him, Darrett?" And he's like, he can't even speak, but he's just like nodding. And Marshall's like, "All right, don't worry, Darrett. Just stay here. Just stay here. Try to keep the situation calm here. Just calm yourself." And then she goes to you two, and she says, "We have to go. You know how to fight this thing. Let's go. You've defeated him once. You will help me, and we must get to your friends quickly." And then Levna comes in and says, "I will protect my squire as well. Saramil is in there. I will go with you too, Marshall." And then Marshall looks at you both as in the background Soth is still just walking up this tower slowly. What do you do, Melvin and Willow?
Immediately on seeing that on the far gab, Soth incoming, get ready, shit.
Over.
Yeah, it reaches you guys. You're muted.
Oh my god, copy. I think we need to run.
I think I'd probably be like, round troops. We got like I just scream out to like all the people around me, like, hey, like danger is imminent, round troops, code red.
And then immediately guards start storming, like, because there's kind of like this like bridge that you guys walked on, this stone bridge, and the guards start storming as Bob is like yelling at everyone, like, we need all reinforcements, go, 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 go. And they start storming past you guys. I don't know if you guys like are trying to beat them, but they're too strong, and they're actually pass through you no matter what, and just are running up the elevators. They're pushing them further, and then Bob's like, "Oh shit! All right, let's go then, right? We can do this." And then he starts like kind of running up the tower as Lord Soth, pretty much maybe on the other side of you all, not knowing that he's just walking up the tower. Willow and Melvin, do you join Levna and Marshall, who are now dashing to the high tower?
So, quick question.
Yeah.
I know that they had places where like armaments could fire out. Are there places that if someone could say could fly them and a friend up in and just be with the rest of the party?
Your fly speed isn't enough. Are you trying to fly towards Soth?
I was trying to get towards the rest of the party. So
yeah, running might be the best bet. Just with the structure of the castle, it's basically just a giant tower with no entrances except maybe at the top there's windows or something that they can aim the scorpions out of. So it's really
if it's not going to be faster, I'm not going to do it.
No, it won't be. I mean, you could. The only way it'd be faster is if you fly toward the area Soth is at to try to. Yeah. Okay. So you're just running. All right. I need you both to do constitution checks do athletics checks as you try to run with your maximum speed. Lyx and Sneak, how are you feeling? What's going on? What are you doing? You guys are hustling for your friends. As Levna and Marshall Nestor is like moving, almost gliding quickly. But Melvin, just so you know, you kind of escaped a crowd that was freaking out, and you had this moment of fear as you're pushing through them all, and the crowd's starting to run around, and people are pushing you, and the Marshal kind of helps shove people lot. I'm guessing Willow does too. And so does Vitus. Vitus is really trying to calm people down. He's actually using the tide, it looks, to calm people's emotions. It looks like he's staying back to try and relax the crowd. The High Council members, they're like kind of freaking out and like kind of stepping back, and guards are going in front of them. But yeah, you guys charge through and you're running and running and running. And Sneak and Lyx, what are you guys doing?
As we're running up, I mean, I'm panicked, but I'll cast False Life, which is when you get the dead version of Lyx in front of me, and I get some extra hit points, and that lasts for an hour.
Okay, and that's concentration or no? It just happens?
Nope, it's not. Nope.
Cool. I'll say this does take. How much time does it take to cast? Just an action?
An action.
Okay. I'll say with how they ran, unless Sneak wants to ditch you, your friends catch up to you with Marshall, Nestra, and Levna, because it just takes a moment. But they were hustling so much in fear toward you all that you all actually managed to reconvene with the Marshall and Levna. Okay. Go ahead, Sneak.
I'm not gonna switch out the thing to my dagger. I'm gonna keep my little grappling shot. Okay. But I'm gonna take my longsword because I have my longsword in my bag, and I'm gonna equip it to my left hand.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna just have it with me, and I'm gonna just stay there.
And that works well. Yeah, just know that now you can't aim with the two hands unless you put that sword away to aim further. But that might not be a big deal. Cool.
I also want to maybe relay the message to Lyx, hey, we need to try to find this eternal flame and just post up to it ASAP.
Yeah, I don't know. We might be fucked, Nick.
Your message is cutting out, Willow, as you are panting through, but you do catch up to them. So you do see them, and you can tell him that he's probably walking up the outside of the tower.
Yeah, I'm just basically trying to give everybody who's up there a better idea of where to be defending from what I last saw. Obviously, he could have moved, but he looked pretty nonchalant, so I wouldn't think he would.
Right.
And that we should probably defend this as best we can, but I don't know if this is a fight we can win, and we'll figure it out as we go.
And then the Marshal says, have faith, Willow, as she seems determined and not scared at all. And you guys are charging up, climbing. This is quite the climb, quite the staircase. Yeah, I mean, you guys get there and you see a room full of guards. And I'll actually show you what that looks like, and I think we'll end on that, unfortunately. Let me get to it real quick. You guys get there. As there's a room full of guards, the scorpions are set up. You guys kind of get here toward the back. There's a bunch of guards on the walls on these higher areas. Can you guys see it? Are you guys seeing it on Roll20? Yeah, sorry. And then you guys see Soth, and Bob actually charges forward. He actually left you all when you all kind of met. Lyx and Sneak, you didn't notice him. He kind of left. He's up front, actually. Up front, leading the charge with the guards. It looks like there's a tall column over here in the middle, and at the top is the morning flame. There's this weird magical energy kind of going up this column, going up to the flame itself. On each side, there's two stairwells, two staircases, right? And on each side, there's a Knight of Solamnia. And I'll show you who they are. So there they are. So there is Squire Ceramil Vaxalion on the left side, and Sir Taltus, a giant minotaur Knight of Solamnia with a big axe. Both guarding each side, both weapons unsheathed. Bob at the front, bunch of guards around Lord Soth. As Lord Soth is kind of head down, arms down, no weapon out yet, and he's made it to kind of outside the window. He's outside the window just with his head down, just kind of vibing. Bob says, "Hey, you Soth! You! Put your hands up! We got you surrounded, Bob!" And Soth actually listens and puts his hands up. And the Marshal says, "What do we do, Bronze Bombers?"
Put the bigger guys on the outside. We'll stay on the inside. Let's make sure Soth stays with his hands up. I don't know, dude.
Melvin's gonna immediately put his hands up, and can I use, I don't know, I'm getting ready to throw some magic, I guess. Everyone's getting ready.
And the handsome squire sees that Levna's here, the young squire knight. He's like, "Ah, master, you're here to see me defeat yet another foe. Me, the sword of the east." And he looks very confident and ready to go. And Sir Taltus is like, "Calm yourself and ready. We do not know this foe." Soth just has his hands in the air.
I think I'm just gonna call out hearing that. Don't let his image fool you. Do not let Hubert be your downfall. He is not surrendering. There's no way.
And then above his hands, a small flame starts to appear as his hands are up. And the guards don't notice in time as the flame expands into almost a giant purple dark fireball. And he blows up the window and launches this fireball at all of them, exploding across all of them, flames engulfing them, as you all hear and see a horrifying, familiar scene of his devastating flame that annihilated all of Ispin's militia in your very first sessions together, destroyed them all, and turned them all into undead skeletons as the flames engulf the room and everyone there. Bob's burning up, his skin falling apart, screaming. The squire immediately falls. The squire falls, burning, dying. The Knight of Solamnia, all the guards that were there, some of the scorpions get blown up to bits, to nothing, as they all are fallen on the ground, burned to bones, and only the Minotaur is still alive, coughing. Sir Taltus trying to get himself up on his axe again, trying to get up, and Soth slowly walks up to him and says,
"Ah, no one has survived this before. You're the first in centuries, but you would be useful to me."
And then he goes and stabs him straight through the heart as the burning Minotaur falls.
Lyx cast Witch Bolt.
Okay, I need you all to roll for initiative, and this is where we'll end. So we'll roll for initiative. This is where we'll begin. Marshall Nestor tried to charge in the second she saw this happening, but was too late. As the impact, like glass just blows everywhere, debris blows everywhere. This Minotaur that's stabbed kind of looks up and just says, "Stop." And it gets up and looks at all of you and grabs its axe out as the other Knight of Solamnia rises and looks at all of you with its sword out. Bob the soldier, now a skeleton with hair barely coming out, looks at all of you, spear out, and the other guards all with spears aimed at all of you as Soth raises his hands and they all rise up to him, the flames controlling them just being undead skeletons for him to control. All the legions, all the reinforcements that you summoned are his now. And he says,
"The morning flame, our long-awaited reunion."
and we will end on that.